Two questions. Given that you admit and accept that you were muting Jin for being rude,
Right.
isn't that the very same criticism that you criticised Nathan for why you guys don't go in there because of Nathan's mute button? Wouldn't that therefore be hypocritical, Jeremy?
I do criticise Nathan for that, but I mean, you could look at it like that. Yes, you could just say I'm a hypocrite.
No, what he'll do is he'll do what he always does, which is he'll get mad, he'll mute us.
That's two of you gone. I'm just muting people.
Mute
until I get this finished. So you are gonna let me finish it if I have to mute the fucking lot of you. What I do is I facilitate a conversation.
Okay, dude. So please stop muting me.
Mute.
Dude, it's getting really old. Listen, dude. I was going to thoroughly explain my position, and then what you did was you muted and strawmanned it.
Mute.
For a fucking full minute, dude. It's ridiculous.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. You're going to sit in a room. Are you really seriously going to sit in a room of other adults when you've been in this conversation?
Making some emotional arguments.
All right, we'll do it the hard. We'll do it the hard way. You are muted.
Mute.
Typical Gem with a mute and monologue method. Fantastic.
He deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
Mute.
I actually only realized I was muted
Mute.
10 seconds ago when I looked at my screen. Before that, I was letting you talk. I was letting you spiel for 2 minutes.
He deploys his mute button just so he can preach. I announced the mute.
Mute.
I told you I was.
No, you haven't been
you.
announcing it. Don't lie.
I absolutely did announce the mute.
Mute.
How many
Talking
times
over
did you
me.
mute? How many times did you mute?
Mute.
Twice.
Mute.
And how many times did you announce it?
What?
And that's a lie, actually. That's a fucking lie. Because
No, it's not.
at least 3 times I saw.
Mute.
After you muted me to monologue about remedial babbling nonsense.
But yes, he deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
Wow, dude. You just always got to mute me so you can just like.
So when I find you in the list, I'm going to mute you.
Mute.
You fucking idiot. Shut the fuck up. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Oh, sorry, I left SE muted.
Mute.
Go ahead, SE. Sorry.
You're a coward, Jem. You're a coward, bro.
That's why I muted.
Mute.
No, I wasn't kicked. So I left because I tried to explain the same point about 4 times, and I couldn't even get in past like the first 5 words of the point because moderators and non-moderators were muting me and talking over me. And Kosho, for you to pretend that it was the other way around to show us how dishonest you are, hopefully if we meet in person, you won't be this dishonest.
Do you want to be that strict? We can do that, Witsit. You'll be muted.
Mute.
People are crazy, though.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Right, I'm going to ask you a question. I've muted you again.
Mute.
You can just stay muted.
Mute.
If that's what we're doing.
It's just stupid. It's just not.
You've got to fix this guy, Spurs.
You can't engage with me, so you stay muted.
Mute.
Okay, so you're just going to keep muting me.
Mute.
Because you're scared to get exposed.
You could just say I'm a hypocrite. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. And then so he got muted.
Mute.
All right, I will mute you.
Mute.
You could just say I'm a hypocrite. The last log is I muted him
Mute.
at 23:53. That's why I keep asking.
You had to mute him, of course.
Mute.
Yes, because he keeps interrupting.
He just makes up some reason that sounds kind of vaguely like it'd be a decent reason, except for it isn't because he's just asserting it. There's no reason for it. And literally will just mute people and then starts going on, then starts making up things that you were going to say or making up things that you did say.
Listen, dude. I was going to thoroughly explain my position, and then what you did was you muted and strawmanned it.
Mute.
For a fucking full minute, dude. It's ridiculous.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. That's 2 of you gone. I'm just muting people.
Mute.
Until I get this finished. He deploys his mute button just so he can preach. So you are going to let me finish it if I have to mute the fucking lot of you. He deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
I respect you a lot now. I respect you more for this. So
you're muted.
Mute.
Dude, you muted me, Jim.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation.
Mute.
And then you don't even let me respond.
I'm going to have to mute you.
So,
Mute.
so you mute me and then interrupt me, and then you're going to mute me again.
Mute.
I'm responding to what you've just said.
I'm still responding to when you muted me.
Mute.
Monologue, though.
Right. You could just say I'm a hypocrite. I've muted you so that I can speak.
Mute.
Your problem is that you are ignorant, that you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't bothered to learn it. You've picked up a few memes and now you're just blabbing.
Mute.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Now, if anybody else speaks, they're getting muted too, okay?
Mute.
No, I'll mute you.
Mute.
Response is to mute you while I give the response.
Mute.
I'm just going to mute you.
Mute.
I don't want to mute you. I'm just going to mute you.
Mute.
Dude, I'm just going to mute you.
Mute.
The only thing that he does is get mad, escalate the fight, start screaming, and mute.
So you are going to let me finish it if I have to mute
Mute.
the fucking lot of you. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. You are muted.
Howdy. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Got a real barn burner for you today. Well, what I do is I facilitate the conversation. How's it going, Betty? You are muted.
Yes, I was.
Yep.
But did you do that?
I did.
You muted me?
I muted the whole hangout.
Ah, well, that's a lot because just you and me here.
Yeah. Oh, just us.
It's just us.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that sort of scared everybody and nobody came.
Really?
Yeah. Mute. Oh,
kind of cozy in here. Well, I'll just mute you.
Well, speaking about muting, Adam, hey.
Mute you.
We're still muting. Evening, guys.
Good evening.
Hey, evening. Yep. So, are we allowed to speak? Master of the universe?
Yes, go ahead.
So, you want to know what the weather is like here?
Not really, no.
Oh, well, it's sunny, but there seems to be a little bit of overclouding here.
That's quite interesting. Thank you. Oh, we just lost 5 viewers.
Oh, come on.
It's a mute point.
Or moot point. Mute, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I was having some technical difficulties earlier, so.
How?
Computer's getting really hot. And it's
To
the weather.
You?
No, not from muting. To the weather, it's so smoking hot here. We're going through a heat wave. This is the second iteration of it. It's gonna get bad, so.
Put its feet in the water.
I've got the fan on her. We'll see how she goes. But if she clips out, folks, you know why.
Yeah.
She's a little warm already. What a bummer.
Yeah. Well, I thought you had air conditioning somewhere in your home.
I do. It's not helping.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's that hot. Oh, and a cherry on top Extra. It seems that the SS Chiggers came out yesterday and the day before and assaulted me. So yeah, so today I'm in a hurt locker.
Or itchy.
I'm telling you what. So wake up on the hour every 3 hours while I was sleeping.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, wake up every 3 hours because it starts itching and the itchy wakes you up.
Put some toothpaste on it.
Toothpaste?
Yes, the minty substance in the toothpaste helps the itch.
Yeah, my bed would smell like a friggin' spearmint gum.
You need to let it dry before you go into bed, by the way, because otherwise your whole bed will be full of toothpaste.
Full of toothpaste. That's a good one. Nah, I got some medicine for it. I hooked it up about 20 minutes before the show, so to get me through the show, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah. So all in all, it's going really great today.
Oh, good.
Thanks for asking.
Then, yeah, so you're ready to go then.
Then I got a little upset tummy along with that.
Oh my goodness. Are we now going through your medical problems?
Yeah, because I'm getting old. Isn't that funny? When I was younger, I just hanging around older folks, that's what the conversation was all the time about about their medical conditions and stuff. And I would think to myself, goodness gracious, are you a bunch of whiners?
Yeah. And now you're there.
Yeah.
I'm so aware of the same situation, yes. And the most disgusting things are that you want to bring us up as a topic, like you want to see if someone else has that same thing going on.
Yeah. It's really pathetic.
It is. But there's so many things that I said that I wouldn't do when I was young, and now I'm sort of starting to turn into my mother, sort of.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, yeah. And they always told you about that you would do that later on, and you said, "No, I'm not going to do that. That's not me." Yeah. Well, time will sort of catch you back in the bite you in the ass, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. I wish they would have got me in the butt.
Well, I don't think so, because that's a nasty place too.
Yeah, but it's easy to get at.
True. But it's also closer to home.
It's closer to home. It's not down below.
Well, if it's in your on your head or in your cheeks, something. I sometimes had a sort of an itch, but it was under your skin more than on your skin. That's an itch that you can't get rid of. You know?
Yeah. I don't know if that's worse than chiggers though. You're right, Omega. Chiggers suck. They're terrible.
You got a super chat, by the way.
I did?
Yeah, from Mike 808.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, he always leaves super chats, but doesn't say anything. He's kind of shy.
Yeah. Well, maybe silence says the most.
Yeah, it could. Silence speaks.
Well, the thing is that he doesn't want to point everything to him, but just to leave it up in the air, sort of. Right?
Possibly.
And
Also, go ahead.
It makes it for me less difficult to read out these super chats.
Yeah, that's right.
Confused with some people have a certain way of putting things in a super chat, and then I think, oh my god, do I have to read that?
Yeah, Mike's having
and I try, and I totally make a mess of it.
Mike the Merciful.
Yes, we could call him that.
Because all you have to do is print something in there, Mike, and her heart starts to fluttering.
That's a little bit over the top.
No, it's right down. It's right down the lane.
You think?
Yeah, and I also stole your howdy.
Ah, the howdy.
I did that just for you.
Yeah. That was something else that I want to say. That's why ugly starts with you and awesome ends with.
Oh, that is not right. I find something. It's really strange, right? Yeah, that's hitting below the belt.
Mhm. Did you know that one, Adam?
No,
Adam
go
is
ahead. Oh,
that ugly starts with you and awesome ends with me.
No, it's something strange, Adam, that awesome ends with me, but ugly begins with you. I can hear him snickering.
I am lost for words.
That's a first. Too funny.
It's not like a busman's holiday, this show. I'm used to listening to old people moan about their ailments. And now I don't know where we're in kindergarten now. Love it.
John and I were going over some of these, how would you call such a thing, like what we just said, puns or like, I don't know,
Insults?
triggers, assaults?
Not salts, insults.
Oh, insults. Okay, yeah, and but also sort of defenses, right? But that you can sort of get out of a conversation and just say something like this and be totally like walking with your head tilted up and like full with pride and say and yeah, you can go away pridefully.
The only one I remember like this, the one my wife hated in that. She came home from work one day and said, I could kill this new manager. Is assume. She said, assume makes an ass out of you and me.
That's profound. The 60s called. They want their insult back.
That's the only one I can think like that. I'm the 60s call.
That's a good one. John is on a roll.
I had to go back a long time. I haven't done those kind of chants since the playground. So,
Well, it's like the sticks and stones can't hurt me.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
You got another super chat.
Yeah. Oh, I had a whole lot of reading to do. You Dada says Coriolis dilemma. Either the planes land on moving 100 mph ground, or they do maneuver in 1,000 mph wind.
Oh, brother.
Did I F this up?
Yeah,
again?
you butchered it up. Thanks, you Dada. Just keep them coming. Get that tongue twisting.
Oh my goodness. Oh, they're going to go into different languages now.
Yeah, and listen, you're right. Because if I tried to read these and understand, not only listen to the language, but communicate it, not only that, but read it, I mean, I would be, it wouldn't be pretty.
In Dutch, you mean?
In any other language. So I'm making fun of you because, well, you're there, but not really.
Yeah. That would be nice to hear you say this in Dutch. Right.
take the heat off your oratory for a second, Betty. I like that super chat, but it's kind of what Nathan said he's not going to do anymore. All we do there, whichever they claim, is so you don't believe in the globe then.
Right.
Starting to take seed. I've been trying to think of it for Black Swanny stuff as well, you know, because it does roll. It rolls very well with Coriolis. Solely because of the way they have to create net zero, just make something that's equivalent to a stationary plane. So they have to have contradiction to the model. But
yeah, so
I'm
that's
starting to like the stance. It's a lot more succinct and easier to deal with.
All right. So there's a policy change, in other words, is what Adam's saying, that Nathan brought it up as a result of What happened to him was he usually pops out of Discord at the end of the after show, but this time he didn't get out of Discord and left his mic open. And after he closed out the show, the knuckle draggers were in there, and they do this every time. After the show closes, they get in there and start spouting their moronic horsepuckery. But Nathan was listening to it and went ahead and taped it, and he just put out a video. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday or today? I don't know. It doesn't matter. And it was about the Coriolis effect, had extremistus and some other numpty on there. And they just train wrecked them. It was like watching somebody with a sledgehammer just pound themselves in the face over and over again. And that's when Nathan got the idea that these anti-flat earthers are not parroting or denying the globe's claims. So he's going to shift it and put them up against the wall and say, why don't you agree with the globe's claims? So they're globe deniers, anti-flat earthers. I used to call them remember the incoherent left-wing fuckwit faction that just makes stuff up? Same population group, right? But now he's going to deliberately put them up against the wall and have them try to reconcile their horsepuckery with the actual globe claims. So it's going to be fun, I think, especially, and the shining example was the Coriolis effect, but there's many subjects. Gravity comes to mind right away. But there's many, and that's the new policy shift. Just want to let you know, Betty, just in case you weren't plugged in.
I was wondering whether it's more as an approach born out of celestial navigation, because we sat there for that, and and the reality we dawned on is that they weren't arguing with us. It's celestial navigation. It's not something flat earthers have made up.
Exactly.
It dawned on us they're arguing with celestial navigation. Well, take it up with that. You know what I mean? And it's the same principle, but I think I'm looking forward to this next month or so with this, because it is an easy way of dealing with them, because for the majority of the stuff they bring us, certainly now, and certainly anti-flat earthers, maybe not noobs, but it is denying their globe. Everything they say to us is in contrast to the globe's claims. So.
Yep. So you're up to speed, Betty.
Wow. So many years from the start.
Yeah, and we're going to start with the presentation. Let's get right into this, because I know a lot of people, they're really enjoying this Coriolis effect. It's been an ongoing theme now for a few weeks.
Are they dizzy people?
Say again?
You said a lot of people are enjoying the Coriolis. So maybe they're a little dizzy now?
The Coriolis you cut out. So say your whole statement again.
Coriolis effect making people dizzy.
Yeah, it's making them dizzy. Yeah. So, and we just bumped up on it. And might as well just drop anchor here for a while, because it's a lot of fun. It really is. I told you before last week's presentation, it really is a lot of fun once you understand it. But go ahead.
I think that dropping the anchor makes the Coriolis stop.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, that might be the point, right?
Yeah, it's a little too much. It's a little over the top there. From underneath.
Well, maybe we should keep the pendulum swinging. How about that?
I'm starting to catch my stride now. You hear that, chiggers?
Oh, they're gonna bite you.
Oh boy, it's bad.
If you talk about chiggers, then it triggers.
Chiggers trigger. They're like Stalin chiggers.
Maybe you have the ones that also like the ticks, the Lone Star tick, will take away your appetite.
Yeah, now they take away what the Lone Star tick does. He puts in that little alpha Gal syndrome. And the irony is with that tick that if you get bit, it gives you an allergy to red meats. You get the irony because a lot of hunters, it's not only hunters, but a lot of hunters get bit by this tick, and they all of a sudden become vegans. So you got to appreciate the irony there.
It's not a red meat jester. They can process other sorts, I think. Right?
Yeah, it's a little wishy-washy. You got to be careful of the mainly red meats. But still, that's a bummer. There's no yeah.
Isn't this something that the elites want?
I don't want to get into all kind of conspiracies with the Lone Star Tech.
I think there might be something there.
Well, you ferret that stuff out and then make a presentation.
It's not that I'm in a position to interview them.
Yeah, true. All right.
And with conspiracies, it's supposed to be secret.
True.
How would you interview a tick?
Well, we're not going the elites, right? The elites are the elites.
They're the vehicle of the elites.
They are ticks.
According to Betty.
Yeah, well, they are also ticks, but in an endurable ones.
A metaphorical sense.
Yeah, long-standing.
All right, can I get into the presentation now, or you two guys done?
Yeah, maybe.
Just give me the go.
Well, I'm not sure. Is it stum? Is it like silence rules for this? Or are we chipping in? If I feel a bit perky.
I can. You feel perky.
Yeah.
I'll stop every now and again.
Cool.
Just barge in, Adam. I mean, this presentation, everybody can see it in other videos and that John has put up. I think you have already 412 of them on your channel now.
Really?
Still try and moderate my self-control.
Please. Now back to the stuff. There's 412 videos. I don't look at that stuff. I didn't. If you would have asked me, I couldn't have told you.
Well, it's just that I saw it when I pulled up the channel. So that I have the sort of a work page going on, and I saw it. I thought, hey, that's good.
Now, where's that amount in relation to? You got to relate it to something, right?
To subscribers?
I don't know about the subscribers. Maybe to some other channels. How many videos Nathan got?
I think. Well, he names his debates after the amount of shows. So.
That's true.
So you could easily see.
So where are we at? He's at least 1675, 1677, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and that's maybe not counting the after shows, huh?
Yeah. So, I'm so far behind. So when you look at it that way, it's not that many videos.
Then you have to do a show every day.
How is the weather out there?
Getting better.
No. Let's dive headlong into this. If there's no objections.
Yes, go into it.
Yes, there's objections, or yes.
No, you can go into the presentation.
All right, we're gonna circle back to the last point that I discussed. I just didn't want to have that lost on anyone, so we can move into the second part of the presentation. Maybe take a quick stop because I did want to touch on one thing that I touched on last time. I want to go into a little greater depth. It's absolutely insane, and I'll show it to you here in a few minutes. But so the brain dead balltards with the atmosphere spins with the earth, right? Everyone's heard this before. There's probably people in the audience right now listening to it that think this, that still think it. I don't understand. I don't get it at this point. But, if you're gonna go along with that, then please explain how the Coriolis effect can exist when the necessary conditions for it to exist are two separate coordinate systems or reference frames. It comes right from the Balltard pseudoscience priests. It's I'm going to show you down below. No pun intended there, Betty. That this is it's absolutely correct. There's no other way about it. You must have a non-inertial rotating reference frame and an inertial reference frame and an object moving straight through the inertial reference frame and somebody observing it that object moving straight from the non-inertial rotating reference frame. So there's 4 criterion that must be met for the Coriolis effect to exist, and those are the 4. So I don't know. So this is a violation of law of non-contradiction. Number 1, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Right? So let's take a look at this. If the atmosphere, that's a contradiction in terms, spins with the Earth, which, by the way, violates Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, Avogadro's law, parts of Dalton's law, the second law of thermodynamics, and Brownian motion, then all we'd have is a single rotating non-inertial spinning reference frame. Now, how can that be when from Britannica.com says the Coriolis force, also called the Coriolis effect in classical mechanics, is an inertial force? How can you have an inertial force without an inertial reference frame? Por favor? I get that's the $64,000 question. Duh! You tracking yet, baltards? Probably not. You need to get your slobber nurses involved in this to help explain this to you. This is a joke. These are jokes. Right? So, and then you say, QE, we never said that. Oh, really? You never said that. That's interesting. What are you doing? Get up there. Get angry with my computer. All right. Screwing up already. This might not go well, Betty. So, like I said, you say, well...
You're being a hothead too now, huh?
It is.
Yeah, so keep you cool so your computer can keep cool.
Damn insolence. It didn't want to put hillbilly blue balls around that retard up there. So, like I said, circling back, if you say, QE, we never said that. Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You had a presentation. And I remembered it when I was going through this for the second time, that Flatsoid did a rebuttal video on hillbilly blue balls, and it was hilarious, right? And there was a lot of information in there, and we were only looking for a few bits, but something else popped up. And that's why I call him not only hillbilly blue balls a redneck retard, he's Mr. Gumby Football Field. We're going to get to that here in a couple minutes, but I want to stress this, that if they say they never said it. So, hillbilly blue balls. It is one non-inertial reference frame. That's where Coriolis takes place, not 2 reference frames. Well, how can that be? If you have only one non-inertial reference frame, and the Coriolis force, as we just read from Britannica, is an inertial force, how can you have that without an inertial reference frame? Hillbilly, please riddle us that, Mr. Gumby Football Field. Now, when I went down and chased this in Flatsoid's video, now this is a Flatsoid video of Hillbilly Blue Balls video, so if you go back to that video, you're going to hear Billy Blue Balls say those. That's why I put the quotations around it, this one up here. All right? So if you go back there, but while I was back there, I seen something else. It was quite disturbing. And let me share it. This popped up on the screen because I guess he was trying to somehow deconstruct or straw man Neil deGrasse Tyson's argument, about the football. You guys all know this. But I seen this flashed up for a second, and I said, wait a second. Let's take a look at this. So Hillbilly Blue Ball says, you got a little arrow up here. You see the football going through the goal. He says the Earth's tangential speed at the goalpost is 1181.4727 feet per second. And then he has another arrow saying that the Earth's tangential speed at the 40-yard line is 1181.4831 feet per second. So this is the disturbing part. I don't even know if it's batshit insane. Not only does Hillbilly Blue Balls think the football field's moving, I mean, that's bad enough. But he also thinks he's got a Gumby football field. He thinks the goal, where the goalpost is is moving slower than the 40-yard line. So we've got this bended, twisted reality, right? Take this in, folks. This numpty dipshit, right? This is a slide. There's no way around this. He thinks he's got a Gumby football field with different parts moving at different speeds. Now, if I showed this to a mental health professional, you'd be through. It's all over for you. I mean, this is batshit insane.
There's another one that believes this too. I think that is it the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing that sort of is the same way.
I think that's what he's showing the calc for.
Go ahead.
But that's fine. It's absolutely fine. Have it. Take it. Take that effect. Put it on an aeroplane. This is what they try to describe, this differential Coriolis. But this is over the length of the football field. And you can see what we've got is a differential from left to right of 0.3 inches. Just over that very short amount of time. If I'm keeping my tangential speed, whatever that is in relation to things, but I'm flying north to south, is there a point where when there's a latitude difference of, say, 300 miles an hour, the equator to, say, 50 degrees or some 40 degrees, am I suddenly now coping with that? Because that's the claim here with the football. Stuff moves, hence the field goal is scored. Therefore, the runway would be moving, but not just by this small amount now in the differential in the tangential speeds that is calculated, but by the differential in the tangential speeds over thousands of miles, which would mean the runway's moving sideways at 300 miles an hour as I come to land if he's going to apply this, non-supported piece of just mathematical calculation. But that, if you're going to have that, it has an implication on everything.
It has an implication. It has an implication with mental health services.
Well, I know, but that's why you do need mental health, because it's really that what you believe is happening. Because if you think it's happening to the ball, it's happening to drones, planes.
Yeah. Don't lose the point here. Hold on a second. Oh God.
I want to say this. I wonder if he finds his way home. Ever.
That's what you had?
Yeah, that's what I had. Profound.
Stop, you two guys, stop ruining the point. Even though you're all correct. Listen, so next time you're at a soccer game, just go to a baseball game of soccer. Doesn't matter. Person next to you, just tell them, do you know that this field is moving? Not only that, where we're at, and you see where the field goal post is, or the soccer goal is, or the outfield is, that's moving slower than we are. Just say that don't lose this. Keep it simple. Utterly. This is so far beyond batshit insane. Right? So, like I said, that's what I wanted to leave everybody with. When next time you see this hillbilly, is he still out here?
Probably.
Well, anyone run into him, ask him about Mr. Gumby football field. See what he says. Okay? Get out of there.
Maybe he has a medical condition called vertigo.
You think? All right, back to the point. I just wanted to stress that, Mr. Gumby football field. We're back to the point of these gases. Like I said, at first, that's the least of their problems up there with the two separate reference frames. With the air traveling with the Earth, they got many more problems. And it's bad. Number two, if you believe that, show the experiment where gases or a gas rotate in lockstep with a rotating solid body just 5 centimeters above the surface. Then provide the mechanism. I'd like to see that. You do understand that gases have no intermolecular bonds. Obviously rhetorical. So do gas molecules attach to the Earth and each other by Velcro, superglue, molasses, pixie dust, other? And gas molecules, that's air, vibrate and move freely and randomly at high speeds. Let's check this out from the chemistry department at Purdue. Let's see what they have to say. See, they got solids over here. All right, not moving too much, just vibrating in place. Microscopic view of a liquid, a little bit more action, but this is the view of gases. 1 second, guys. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. The phone went off. I forgot to put the darn thing on. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Okay, back to right at the punchline, too. So the microscopic view of gases, how you see, they go every which way. So how can gases, what are not bonded to each other, by the way, somehow bond to a solid and then from there spin with that solid? How's that possible? It's not. I mean, an incoherent second grader would have a field day with you guys in an auditorium arguing this point with you. It just make you look like idiots. Rightfully so. So question, how can gas molecules that make up the atmosphere, that move freely and randomly at high speeds, yet, according to the intellectual elite baltards, rotate in unison? Rotating in unison and moving freely and randomly at high speeds are antithetical to each other, by the way. That is not moving freely and randomly at high speeds with the Earth from west to east, so violation of the law of non-contradiction number 2. If you don't get this, folks, I can't help you. Number 3, if we could ever get there, I'm going to chop this mouse up in real tiny pieces. If you ever seen Office Space where they took the printer out into the field with the baseball bat, that's what I'm going to do with this friggin' mouse.
What did you do now? You're sort of aggressive today. What's happening?
Starting to get aggravated. It's the damn chiggers.
And the heat. Huh? Or maybe some cool blocks of ice on the jigger bites would help too.
Oh, even thinking about that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Number 3, this is really funny.
I used to get the
Jeez, oh man.
You know when you go on a picnic, because I went to Italy and I had a similar thing, or you get those big solid ice block packs that you put in your picnic to keep it fresh. Those straight out the freezer on the bites, mate. Works a treat. Takes the itch out.
He might run to the fridge right now.
He might have gone.
Now I'm still hanging around number 3, which I started and then was rudely interrupted.
It's for your health.
Yeah.
I was being selfless there.
You are. Forgive me. I'm a worm.
Is this the new one? I'm a worm. I heard that twice now.
I said it last week and I got kudos from Tony. Where's Tony at?
So you mean that he agrees?
No, he just liked it because it was an obscure little sentence in a movie. Great movie, by the way, back in the day. The original Highlander.
Oh.
But I digress. We're on number 3. This is.
I want to digress.
Oh, brother.
A great, really wicked movie I watched the other night, right? Book of Eli. Really good.
Thanks. Number 3.
Last Man on Earth, right? And he's got the only remaining copy of the Bible in a kind of like Mad Maxy apocalypse. It's really, really, really good. Loads of.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen some of that movie.
Denzel Washington. Yeah, really cool, man.
Here we go. Power suggestions. Okay, Betty, what's your favorite movies?
The one that Adam says,
Yeah.
The Last Bible.
I didn't say it was my favorite. Just.
Can I get the number 3?
Well, with any luck, yeah.
So now I'm going to have to remind everybody what we're talking about, right? Their claim is the air rotates with the Earth. That doesn't, Earth's not rotating, but they think the air would rotate it with it if the Earth was rotating. So, number 3, to prove that the air does that, please explain the existence of east, north, and south surface, mid, and high-level winds on a spinning ball that has the atmo, that's air, wind, gas, rotating with it from west to east. Can't have that. You can't say that the atmo spins with the Earth and at the same time have east, north, and south surface, mid, and high-level winds at the same time. It's a contradiction. You're violating the law of non-contradiction. It's just that simple. So an incoherent 6-month-old could argue this against them. That's it. It's over right here. I could just stop. I could just stop at any one of them, but this is pretty funny. Bonus question, how can you have different wind speeds moving in different directions simultaneously at differing elevations of the atmo, all the while the atmo is collectively spinning east? That's more or less what I just said. In unison the same. It'd be easier reconciling married bachelors. So this is the violation of the law of non-contradiction number 4. We're not done yet. By the way, these are contradictory statements. The atmosphere spins with the Earth. And number 2, the existence of east, north, and south surface, mid, and high-level winds, like I just said. We're contradictions. Which do you think is false? You got to pick one. Because they're mutually exclusive. Simple as that. Not even speaking, like I mentioned above, to differing wind directions and speeds at many levels of the atmosphere simultaneously. The primary school example, lower clouds moving different direction speeds than higher clouds, right? We've all seen this before, haven't we? Let me show you. Let's get a visual on this one. I can't use this. I got to use another setup. Another browser. It won't work too well in that one. So let's check this one out. Everyone's seen this before, right? What's happening here? If the Earth or the atmo is traveling with the Earth from west to east, that's one direction. How are you getting these clouds moving in multiple different directions? There's contradiction in terms. I'm not saying clouds are gases. I'm saying the winds in the atmo push those clouds. So the winds have to be going in that direction too. You follow Baltards. You're finished. Like I said, incoherent second graders have a field day. It'd be like a piñata. It'd be like shooting pregnant hippos in a fishbowl. With just this. I got a better one. Hold on a second. Not that I need a better one. Match this one up. Copy that one. What about that one? We got to move it every which way. Right there debunks their entire worldview. Just those last 2 gifts. I don't even have to say anything. Unbelievable. Let's smack that out of there. All right, everyone get it? Moreover, following the Mensa baller's yarn, get up there. Every cubic nanometer of atmo traveling horizontally from the equator to the center of rotation must have differing tangential speeds. And every cubic nanometer of atmo rising in elevation from each respective horizontal cubic nanometer of atmo must have differing tangential speeds. In fact, the higher the elevation, the faster they'll need to travel to keep up. And all of this rolling along at differing speeds in unison east. So this is a violation of not only the law of non-contradiction for the 5th time, it also violates the first law of thermodynamics, where you're getting the energy for that increased speed. This is so far beyond preposterous ludicrousness, absurdity, evolution, whatever that is. Multiverses and married bachelors are in the corner blushing. And does anyone know how far up this increasing speed rope-a-dope fairy tale spinning atmo ends, please? I'd like to see that. It'll give a whole new meaning to guillotine wind shear. Goodness gracious, people.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Just with current rhetoric that they introduced, this becomes really ridiculous, doesn't it? Because they now, in the heliocentric model, claim that the atmosphere extends out to just past the moon. What speed are them bad boys doing up there?
Do us a favor, Adam. Keep yourself busy the rest of the presentation. Can you calculate that for us?
No, I've got a sandwich that's just arrived, so that would suffice just the same, I assume.
I'm dying to ask you what's on that sandwich because I'm getting really friggin' hungry right now, but I don't want to do that because it interrupt the flow.
Scooby snack.
So you got a Scooby snack, thanks. P.S. Are the gas molecule that means no more? P.S. Are the gas molecules attached, and I spoke about this above, to each other by Velcro, glue, pixie dust, or other? Where is the energy coming from for the continuous shot in the arm injections needed to keep each successive cubic nanometer of atmosphere higher elevation brethren in tow? This is so batshit insane. Alice in Wonderland is more tenable than the belly laugher, bald-tard, spinning space monkey religion. The prosecution rests. Simple. You live in a fairy tale. The end. But we ain't going to end there, are we? Because this is too much fun. I told you this was a lot of fun when we started this endeavor 2 weeks ago. Do I want to stop right there before we get to this next one is really funny. Yeah, let's stop. Questions, comments?
I got a Scooby snack.
Oh, D, I caught you. What you got? What kind of sandwich you got?
I got triple decker. So I got boiled egg, tomato, mayonnaise, and then another bit of bread, all seal buttered, cheese, bacon, and lettuce.
That does sound really stinking good.
It is, honestly. Get on to the next bit of the presentation. I'm busy.
Betty!
Yeah, so now you're gonna annoy me, huh, with stuff.
Oh, she's harboring some hateful grudge towards quantum eraser.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah. No super chats?
No, nothing.
What the hell's going on out there?
They are sparing me for my lovely voice and stuff. And,
Tony, save us!
And my reading skills. I think Tony is not even in the chat. He might be doing something else today. I haven't seen him.
All right, let's move on.
One of your Patreons is here. Will Braggs. See him.
What's going on, Will?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we forgot. Hold on. I'm sorry. As soon as you said that, it hit me.
Yep.
Sorry, Patreons. Just relax. I'm going to get the Patreons next week. I'm sorry I forgot about you guys. I didn't forget about you personally. I just forgot about announcing you today. All right, so that's on me. I'll get you next time, okay?
You know that you have a contract with these guys?
I do. I have a contract, and I actually shout those guys out up on top of the presentation constantly. It's just a silent shout out.
Take your word for it, huh?
Yeah, no, take my word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Thanks, Betty. I knew you were going to get it. As soon as I said patrons, I said, I stepped in it.
Yep.
Yep. And you were going to help point that out, weren't you, Betty?
Well, the thing is, I'm very subtle. Right?
You're not subtle.
Well, I could have said, you should have shouted out your Patreon.
You did, but I rumpused you just in time.
No, come on. I knew you realized it already, so.
Folks, I'm sorry. I just took a bite of banana and I thought I could get it mashed up before Betty stopped talking.
And I got the whiff of that and thought I'd stop.
That was good. I was feeling a mite peckish.
Because of Adam, huh? But it's freaking nice.
He should have never said anything.
Yeah, but you asked.
I did. Yeah. All right, let's.
Well, hey, everyone.
Oh, what's up, Brian? Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, you can eat your banana if you want for a minute. Yeah, I like as Adam said. I don't know whether it was yourself or Adam, that the claim that the globe Earth's atmosphere extends out to where the moon is, the heliocentric moon, that would mean that somehow that atmosphere has to also be moving at 15 degrees per hour within their claim, as they could never give anyone a specific altitude at where this stops happening. You know, it's just always happening until it's not. You know, they don't have any particular point in the sky that they can give you that they will stick to. So they don't give you anything. They never make a claim about it. They just say it's happening until it isn't happening, and that's it. What do you think, Betty?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking if the atmosphere is extending until the moon, how could I ever have calculated and accounted for winds and drifts of that moonlander and that sort of stuff? I mean,
all right,
that seems more ridiculous then.
All right, I just ate a bruise. Did you ever see? I checked the banana before I start into it. Not to. We'll get back to your point, Betty. But everyone's experienced this. I just want to make a note of it. Hey, you grab a banana. I always, visually inspect it, right? Because I don't like bruises, and I don't know anyone who does. But anyway,
I hate them too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm eating the banana. I already got in my head there's no bruises, right? And then boom, I hit one that's like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, it must be a subdermal bruise that you encountered.
Yeah. Too funny. I wanted to share that with everyone.
Right? It's all slimy, mushy. It's like
yeah, it's so nasty. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Also,
yeah. So we ready? We ready? This is pretty funny. This next part.
Were you going to say something about my comment or what?
I was. Wind and see, you're saying wind that have to account for wind in a vacuum. See, those two, it's not.
No, well, they say that there's an atmosphere or something going on, and it encompasses the moon as well, right?
No.
Why?
Well, you said right. I said no, not right.
Yes, so I understand, but they make stuff up, right? It's like they started to make a little house of cards, and they added on extensions and more rooms, and every time they put up a card, it's bound to fail on them.
Huh? Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it's a never-ending cascade. It's like a domino effect, because all they put up are law of non-contradiction violations with their previous statement, and it just starts knocking all the rest of the cards over, if you follow. But they can get away with it. See, this is the real insidious, really, that part that aggravates me, and it should aggravate everyone out there. They're saying these things because they know their target audience are a bunch of numpties. Now, that's what they're thinking in their heads, because that's the only way that somebody can just post contradiction after contradiction after contradiction, right in your face contradictions, that doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure them out. But they keep on putting them out there, and they get numpties just parroting it. So, folks, they think you're numpty dipshits. That's why they do it. They can say anything without any fear of reprisal. except for us, which hold them to every single word that dribbles out of their incoherent potholes. That's what we do. That's our game.
You got a super chat.
Yes, honey.
You got a super chat from Multi Tom Tom, and he says, "Thanks for all the hard work, Huey. Much appreciated, sir."
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you. My wife's going to really appreciate that. I might get out of the doghouse today. I spend a lot of time in there. I know it's shocking.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time next to you, but I don't get any super chats.
You should be a dream to live with.
You're muted.
Yeah.
Dude, buddy. All right. Thanks, Brian. I know that was some heartfelt sentiment right there. Now, yeah. Let's get the hurricanes, man. Because this is a whole lot of fun right here. So you'll hear numpty dipshit ballers, right? Say, well, as soon as the excuse me, I burped up that bruise. As soon as you hear I can't even say it. As soon as you hear Coriolis effect, you immediately, well, it might not be immediate, but it's sure coming up quick. Hurricanes, right? even if they just spout the phrase or word hurricanes, right? You know it's coming. And I'm going to show you how this is numpty dipshittery from the Black Lagoon. Everyone can see this, and like if you tune into your local weather channel or on the news whenever there's any hurricanes or typhoons, they're going to give you a little balloon satellite picture of them, right? Now the point is which way they're turning. The point is that they're actually turning. They're actually turning. You can see them. They can put them in motion. They're actually turning. Actually. You get actually? Everyone's got that. This is the point. All right. So you're saying hurricanes spin in opposing directions in the northern versus southern hemispheres, which is begging the question, respectively, due to the Coriolis effect. Well, I sure would like some of that angel dust laced shrooms the idiot space monkeys are starting. So, please focus on apparent deflection, not real, appears, does not actually, in the following citations. Now, don't lose the previous point. Remember, these are actual spins. Actual spins. You got it. So, from Sigard Douglas, Introduction to Ocean Sciences. Coriolis effect. When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air, that's the atmo, and water masses, that's clouds and water vapor, move in straight paths while the Earth continues to rotate independently. Because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates, they are subject to an apparent deflection. You see that word right there? Apparent. Called the Coriolis effect. To an observer rotating with the Earth, freely moving objects that travel in a straight line appear to travel in a curved path. So we got two appears or apparents. From the University of Oregon and the University of Florida, I thought I'd put them both here. They used both. They used the same citation for each of the universities, so we'll just go one time. The effect of the Coriolis force is an apparent deflection. They're going to give you the definition of apparent just beneath. Just hold on. Apparent deflection of the path of an object that moves within a rotating coordinate system. The object does not actually. That's what apparent means. Not actually. The object does not actually deviate from its path, but it appears, here we go again, to do so because of the motion of the coordinate system. But what we observed up there with hurricanes are actual spins. This is saying with the Coriolis force or Coriolis effect, it does not actually. See the juxtaposition? Let's go to the California State University. The Coriolis effect describes the apparent deflection, curving of an object traveling in a straight line. Here we go again. Oh, I skipped one. Apparent deflection. That means not actually. From Utah State University, the Coriolis force is an imaginary force. Uh-oh. Because objects affected by it are really following a straight path. It is an apparent deflection, a not actual deflection we see from the vantage point frame of reference of the rotating Earth. From encyclopedia.com, within its rotating coordinate system, the object acted on by the Coriolis effect, in their case it would be the clouds, hurricanes, appears to deflect off its path of motion. This deflection is not real. I don't know any other way to say it. How many times I got to say it? It only appears to happen because the coordinate system that establishes the frame of reference for the observer is also rotating. So does everyone see them? Well then, here comes the punchline. What does an actual spin, counterclockwise or clockwise, have to do with the Coriolis effect, which is an apparent deflection, not real, appears, does not actually. This deflection is not real. Por favor. Answer key. Absolutely nothing. How are they even connected, these two things? I don't know. It's somebody Jedi mind tricked them. What it is, folks, these guys don't actually know what the Coriolis effect is. That's what the problem is. In other words, to check this out, how can clouds be apparently deflecting actually? That's the question. Please, I need an answer to this. How can clouds be apparently deflecting actually when apparently means not actually? Oh, brother, the tangled webs you weave. It's not even tangled. It's not even a web. I could do this in my sleep. Violation of the law of non-contradiction on nuclear steroids. This has to be number 6 or number 7. How many is it going to take? Shouldn't it take just one? Just saying. This is tantamount to giving a presentation on quantum numbers with excruciating details on SPD and F orbitals, then concluding that they are responsible for the creation of facultative anaerobe woodpeckers. My word. Alice in Wonderland is more tenable than the Baltard spinning space monkey religion. The prosecution rests simple. You live in a fairy tale, Baltards. The end. I just demonstrated it in spades. What are you going to say? Nuh-uh? That's all you got is nuh-uh. Then call me names. That's all you got. P.S. Betty's favorite. What do we get to now? The Foucault pendulum. Let's go ahead and read this from plusmass.org. Foucault pendulum. Once you set one in motion, its direction of swing will rotate at a rate of about 0.2 degrees every minute. But in fact, this is really important part coming up. It isn't really the pendulum that's rotating. Uh-oh. The pendulum is swinging back and forth in exactly the same direction. I can remember Rumpus told me one time that pendulums swing in figure eights. But I digress. But in fact, it isn't really the pendulum that's rotating. The pendulum is swinging back and forth in exactly the same direction. It's the Earth which is rotating underneath the pendulum, which makes it appear, here we go again, that the pendulum is in fact changing direction. What does that sound like? It's rhetorical, by the way. You know what it sounds like. It's the Coriolis effect. It's exactly the Coriolis effect, folks. Yep. If that's true, then why couldn't we just hover in a helicopter in North Carolina for 3 hours and catch a Dodger game? More on this point. I don't think Baltards know what hover stands for or what the hover means. To speak to this, I want you to look up the definition of hover because the Baltards say that the helicopters have angular velocity. because they don't lose angular momentum. They continue to spin with the Earth. I want you to define hover and then say that statement right behind it. And you're going to be in a rubber room in a straitjacket in line for a frontal lobotomy because you just contradicted yourself. Hovering means not moving in any direction. How can you not move in any direction and have a velocity when a velocity is moving in a particular direction? But I digress. Friggin' retards. Number 2, if the Foucault pendulum is legit, which denotes 2 separate reference frames, did you see that up here? 2 separate reference frames? Did you get that? Probably not. If the Foucault pendulum is legit, which denotes 2 separate reference frames, then guess what? A flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA, nonstop, traveling at 500 miles an hour airspeed with both locations roughly the 35th degree north latitude in your fairy tale, that is, both allegedly spinning at 860 miles an hour, should be 1.5 hours. That's it. But it's 4.5 hours. I did the calculations and the equation for you before. It's like a 3rd grade calculation with distance equals rate times time. Charlotte to LA flight is airspeed 500 miles an hour, ground speed 500 miles an hour plus 860 miles an hour, alleged rotation speed in your face. That would total 1,360 miles an hour. The distance between Charlotte, North Carolina, and Los Angeles is 2115 miles. The flight time must be 1.5 hours. Must be. It has to be. No other way around it. Actual flight time is 4.5 hours. Does the 1.5 hour flight time ever happen? No? Then bye-bye now to the belly laugher, ball-tard, spinning space monkey religion. I approve this message. Questions, comments?
So that Foucault pendulum, huh?
That's your baby.
No, it's not my baby. It's like a giant clock, sort of, huh? Don't they have to align that every time that they are moving it away and put it in a different position?
I'd have to see him do it. I just heard somebody come off mute. Go ahead. I've been talking for too long.
He's got off a banana in his chops. You can
I do. I was eating. I took off the bruise part because it was a big bruise. I had to snap that in half, but I don't have anywhere to put it. So I had to put it back on the skin while it's laying down. This is a logistical nightmare.
You deal with that because the Foucault pendulum is it's one of my early investigations, Bay. You know, you look into it because it's things when you were a kid like that. You see them in the science museum, you know, and until you investigate it, they're things of marvel, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's disappointing when you find out there's a mechanism above to make sure it rotates and processes at the correct rate.
Yeah. And starts, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I think fundamentally that's what the globe claims. That's what a pendulum. Well, and this was probably my point prior to Nathan's sea change, which is that I'm struggling to adapt. See,
yeah.
Obviously, that is the ball claim. But if I look at it, even as a ball claim, last I checked, everything's connected. So there isn't this disconnect between the Earth rotating. It's not levitating above it, is it? It's actually connected. There's a bearing at the top. That was always a point of contention for me in terms of it being able to exhibit Coriolis, because everything's connected. So why is that bottom end or the swing per se in a separate reference frame? And they do have excuses for this.
Yeah. But they don't make sense.
No, but they require a second reference frame, and it kind of
yeah.
Which doesn't exist, because if it's rotating underneath the pendulum, Then it'll rotate under airplanes or air
Exactly.
balloons.
So that's the whole thing. That is the double think, double speak thing. They want to have focal pendulum to work so that people are sort of mesmerized by it and I think, okay, it's just a piece of artwork. That's all it is, right? and but they don't want to believe on the whole Coriolis when it comes to the airplanes, the helicopters, drones, that sort of stuff. But you have to. You can't dismiss the one and admonish the other, right? You have to, yeah, make a stance, and they don't. And it's sort of. I see that with people that are indoctrinated all the time. They have sort of on the same topic, different views, and that you can't be. It can't be. And it's a form of indoctrination. You can see that they are indoctrinated by it.
You there, Bri?
He's picking potatoes.
I was looking for a little Phil. I keep notes. You know, I'm a bit of a geek, but I'm kind of trying to flick back because I remember when this first argument started, and I did a list. I drew a line down the middle of the page to kind of see what physical objects in the world we live in are subject to Coriolis and what aren't. So obviously on one side you've got like footballs, bullets. Yeah, they're subject to Coriolis. But aeroplanes, let's see where it's annoying. Aeroplanes, drones, hot air balloons, they don't. And
what? What?
They
Yes.
They stay.
Oh, hold on a second. You're saying that they're saying that they don't apply to those. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, as I said, I did a list of things that Coriolis does apply to, and we can see its effects. Bullets, apparently, that's why they curve, or why you don't hit your target. Not because you're a crap shooter, or you're not in the zone, but because of Coriolis. Footballs, sometimes you can you get a lucky field goal. So it definitely has an effect there. But then on aeroplanes, drones, hot air balloons, blimps, it doesn't have that effect.
That's contradiction, because we went in the first part of the presentation. I posted a citation where it does apply directly to anything not tethered to the earth, including airplanes.
I'm not disagreeing. I was reminiscing, say, when I first looked into it. And
I got you. Okay, go ahead.
So when you're making that differential early on, you look, if you are investigating honestly, you can see where the claim for this effect is being made and where it's completely denied. I mean, that is the crux of the for flight to Charlottesville, statement. But it is that point of, and genuinely, when I wasn't, kind of realised it's all shenanigans, I'm looking into it saying, well, why is it applying here but not here? And obviously, early steps of a flat earther. Generally, you're given that information as a child. So when we do start this journey, I know you just went from zero to hero, but you start on this, and they're the sort of things you break down. Like I said, with regards to the Foucault pendulum, the same sort of thing, going through researching data to see how it spins. The only place, apparently, this is man, what a mug I was. Nathan says about the buffet of bullshit. We're assuming that this station at the South Pole was at the South Pole, so kind of accepting that data in terms of believing you're on a rotating spinning ball, but still looking at it. Do you know what I mean? And even there, it didn't work. That was their disappointment. Even with the really thin air and all these sort of things. But yeah, I think I've done rambling. But it's more a criticism of if you start from zero, you do have that question, don't you? Why doesn't this do this? first and foremost, because you don't necessarily come straight out the paradigm. Was probably the long-winded way of saying my point. You still deal within the paradigm first, realize the intricacy of the bullshit, and then start to look elsewhere. It was the same for me with evolution.
Yeah, but what's that?
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Yep.
Yeah, and on the storms and the winds and stuff, I saw once a guy at the equator. They say it was equator. It was a road, I think, somewhere, and he had a sort of a how do you say that in English? A sort of a not a washing bin, a sink, sort of a sink, and he put in water on one side of the road, and it would spin a certain way, and he went to the other side of the road, and it would spin the other way. It was like a
train.
Was he on the equator?
Yeah, he claimed to be.
Yeah, that's another one, Betty. It's that he's got a golden sink, hasn't he?
Yes.
And he goes steps one side and he puts the leaf in and away. Yeah, I mean, early days looking at that going, oh, what that, where? And that's the whole point. How they had you by the kahunas.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at that and you're calling it Coriolis.
They call it, yeah. Yeah, and all these people were like, oh, yeah, but it's the way you put the water in the sink to let it go. I mean, it's so easy to fool people.
Well, in mine, I remember seeing it when I first come on here. I was like, damn, these guys are really screwing the pooch with that. It's such a nonsense. So I walked into my bathroom. I turned my sink on, and my toilet is like 3 feet away. And I flushed it. My sink spins counterclockwise, and my toilet is clockwise. So in between my sink and toilet must be equator.
That might be a singularity.
Yeah, it's a singularity. All right. It's my trash can is what it is. That's what separates the two.
This is the exact program you're undoing though with Coriolis. Yeah, I was looking. I remember back in the early days of IRM, yeah, when I met Rob from Australia. I don't know any. So even then, I'm asking, which way does your toilet spin when you flush it? You know, which way? Because you're asking and you're checking this because you think that's an effect of Coriolis. Yeah, because that's what we're programmed and told through the media. Yeah, that this is a ball proof. These are things that show you're on a spinning ball. Because if you go for a poo in Australia and a poo in England, your water will spin the other way afterwards. Yeah? That's a proof. As a kid, you taught that.
It's kind of a shitty proof, isn't it?
Very.
Can you believe they even had the audacity? I know there's a lot of people just parroting these things and are not thinking there's no level of scrutiny, but the audacity to put that out into public goes back to my previous statement that those theys think you're all numpty dipshits. It's the only explanation. If you're following.
No, I don't follow.
You're not following that?
No. I mean, who is putting this out? I mean, what if it's just part of a big sort of program to make people believe stuff that's unreal, right? Just to, well, sort of harness their minds. Right?
If the air, you see, I'm doing it. I'm going into the paradigm, but if the air's lockstep, why would water not be lockstep? You just showed the molecular diagrams. See, I'm stopping it. I'm not having it. So you're not a ball believer then. You don't believe in the ball. That's what I've got to keep saying because that is the bullshittery path it takes you down, isn't it?
Yep. So you still disagree with my audacity claim? What other explanation do you got?
brainwashing, doing it on purpose to f up the minds of people.
Well, that's I'm not saying that that's not true. They each aren't mutually exclusive here. What I'm saying is, in order for them to put, don't rumpus me, don't rumpus me.
Yeah, sure.
No, go ahead.
Let me leave.
If I can't rumpus, I'm leaving.
Exactly.
I'd call it a litmus test, Betty. Yeah.
Rumpusing?
In terms of because look, you want to know how dumbed down we are. You want to have tests, don't you? See how thick people are. How much have we got them to be able to believe whatever we tell them? I'm sounding a bit Orwellian, but that's the reality. Well, this is one, isn't it? I can defy logic, defy the science I've teach you, but you still believe that is locksteppity. Yeah. Or if I can convince you that this apparent deflection makes toilets spin the other way, and I can survey the public, I can see how brainwashed you are. Like I say, I view it more like a litmus test. These things, not necessarily. They're happy to be caught out, John. I think it wouldn't be a problem to them, but they're there as very useful guides to see how dumb we still are.
Yeah, and if they notice that people are getting out of the program, they need to ramp it up with stuff, with stupid stuff, maybe. Or it's a way to root out the wheat from the tares and the tares from the wheat. That makes things stop. I think quantum eraser is overheated.
Negative. I'm still here. It's fine to have. It's good every now and again, just to be still and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Okay, let me do that same exercise.
But now's not that time.
Oh, I thought as much. Yeah. Well, I think it's not fair to call all people that are believing in a globe numpties, right? And if they are like skeptical of an idea, to call them numpties, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
After a while, I can understand that we have these people in our community that are, I think they are long past being able to be saved from this because they have too much invested. They can't go another way, right? They can't, because they might be full of shame then, right? People try to avoid being shameful or embarrassed. They don't want to be embarrassed. So, and if you have much invested, you can't
that's
go
true.
back.
That's true. That's the psychology of but that's what I'm calling.
Everything is psychology in a way, right?
Yeah. Right. No.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
They don't know what's happening here, so we'll keep it to ourselves. Yeah, listen, like I said many times before, I only reserve the numpty dipshit tag to the globetards out here on the circuit. Now, Joe down the street and Granny Wilkerson over here, I don't call those people aren't numpties, even though they're globers. Follow?
Yeah, sometimes you need to say that because I think that people listening in might be like really easy offended. Nowadays, people are easily offended.
Yeah, no, I try to say it at least once a month.
Those that have heard Black Swan's on screen, if you've heard it and you were just a normie and you're not getting it or you're fighting it, then I would use the phrase "you're a plum," yeah, because you're not getting the point.
Shout out to Brian.
Bryce there, I know. Yeah, but there's a big difference between that and what we tend to be dealing with, certainly in Discordy places. You know, that is a numpty dipshit. Because there's somebody that does understand all these things, or at least claims to have researched them. I'm not saying being too kind to say they do understand. But they certainly have a good grasp of the contradictions, the issues, but they numpty dipshit their way around it, pretending they're not there and making statements from this. Yeah. The different classes of what you're dealing with, aren't they? And deserve. The numpty dipshits are the ones that are the bore deniers. Now that's the reality. They're the ones that are denying the globe, because it's the only way they've got an argument with us is to deny the globe's actual argument, to argue with us. So
you brought up the black swan. That is too funny. I put it up there, not for any comments, just to run something. I don't want to run the slideshows because I'm afraid I'm all overheat. But after 2.5 years, now listen, I said right from the beginning, I told the whole panel, I said, listen, the ballers are not going to get this argument for at least 9 months. Well, that was a severe lowball. They, as a whole, I hate the stereotype, but I have yet to hear one person know the actual argument. Case in point, Sean the Crackhead Hawkins, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, challenged Eli to give him the scientific method for the black swan argument. I shit you not.
John, Phil B's in. There you go. He asked a question, and if I could just answer it succinctly for him. He says, why are these two photos different? What's changed? And as I look at them, in your world, Phil, the radius of the Earth has changed, mate. So,
he doesn't get it.
You ball denier.
He doesn't get it. Not only that, he doesn't get that, which is, it's a belly laugher. You have no, it's not even critical thinking skills at this point. You have no basic reasoning acumen whatsoever. None. I've proved that so many times. It's not, just check the numpty numpty dipshit playlist. But not only that he doesn't know that. You know that second photo over there, Phil? That is a black swan also. Bet you didn't know that. I must have plastered this in front of your face greater than 50, 60 times, personally. He even posts it. He doesn't post this. What he does, he goes around these Discord servers and he says, look at that cutie! Look at that black swan that's over. You friggin' bozo. I had this in my first presentation 2 years ago. And the explanation thereof. That it's a black swan. But we'll just stick to Adam's point, the first point, that you just destroyed your entire argument by asking that question. Why is that? Why are there two different photos? Can you tell them again, Adam? Maybe you'll get it.
Well, obviously, as flat earthers, we have lots of understandings of the multiple reasons why there may be differences in the pictures taken that day.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that, Adam.
You mean the big blue wobbly thing?
No, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, Phil, your fairy tale, your ball tard is changing shape on the fly there, Phil. That's the punchline. Adam already said it. Your radii is changing. Oh, brother. I don't know, folks. Answer the question. Get out of my chat, Phil, before I slap you, half a sissy. My word, sir. You can't be that dumb. Well, I take that back. Unbelievable. I wouldn't even have to explain it.
Yeah.
They just don't get it. It's so funny. I couldn't believe it. Eli sent me a video. And I'm sitting there and he said, please give us the scientific method for the black swan argument. I think what you have to do, Sean Crackhead Hawkins, you have to go back and try to figure out why water vapor is not a gas. Start there. You're going to have to go back some steps. Let's start at what's the color of yellow. Start there first. Let's see if we can have some consistency first. Good Lord.
It took me I've been quiet there. It took me a second to realise how dumb that is. You know what I mean? Because it's not like give me the scientific reason even for Earth curve or something which you know plausibly you might have to explain to somebody what science is, as we've covered. But this is something that's prefaced with a modus. It starts with a statement that this has got nothing to do with science. It's a logical syllogism, and it describes the type of what it is. So there is no help sometimes, isn't there? Even if you tell people.
Do you want me to give Adam, I presume that they already knew why, all the folks out there. Do you want me to give you the answer, folks, why there's no scientific method for the black swan? The black swan argument isn't a scientific argument. It's a geometric one. They don't even know that. Let alone the argument itself. That right there proves they have no clue what the argument is. Absolute absurdity. It's the questions that you ask. I always say this. Let's say you're in a class, right? And the professor says all of a sudden, test tomorrow. Meanwhile, you've been in class dreaming about Susie all week, right? Not paying attention to the blocks of instruction. So as soon as he says, is there any questions, you're sort of caught in a catch-22. You see, you most assuredly need to ask questions because you're dreaming about Susie all week and don't know what the material is. But see, here's the catch. The moment you ask a question, everyone in the class and the professor and their sisters is going to know exactly where you're at and expose you. You see? So it's the questions that you ask that expose you, dumbass baltards. My word. Next block of instruction, how to sit down. Then point at a horse.
Is it in the room? Or on the horizon?
Just quick kudos to the shortcut there. My brain didn't work like that in terms of the point I was making. Take it through the black swan. But yeah, it's much simpler. I don't have to explain all that and just go, no, it's a question of geometry, not. I like that. That's much better response, John. It's quicker.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Well, I've been that person.
I've been in that.
And I didn't say a damn word. Because I had some awareness about me. Now, did I bolo the quiz? Yeah. No, that was back in high school, man. I never did that stuff. Not in university and didn't bolo anything. Nope. Uh-oh, somebody come off mute.
Oh, just checking on Phil. He seems to be arguing about these.
Are we into reading chat, Skanks?
Well, only because it's Phil. And the reason I say is what you said earlier. Phil's one of these people that, well, you ask, why is he here?
I have no idea.
Why is he here? What is he doing? What's his purpose here? And Betty, he's one of those that have the most to lose, not necessarily financially or anything, but in terms of their self-worth. For all of the pontificating they've done over their lives to people, over everything they know. And you know, look at his manner in here. That's exactly how he is with us. Well, it's not a ball. Everything he stands for is gone. And that's the only reason I can think he's here still on screen.
He's still asking you, Adam, why are those two photos different?
See? I think he's talking to Adam Price. Shout out Adam.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. You see, because we've already addressed it. yeah, and destroyed him. So
why would he ask that? Why would he still ask then? Adam, the atom part's irrelevant.
Because if he can get a response that's not satisfactory from Adam Price, then he can still hang on to his little worldview. Even though we've absolutely kicked him out of the park here, that he could hear, he can't go to bed till he's got something that'll help him sleep.
But he's here.
This is his hot chocolate. He needs somebody to, not even to give him the right answer that he needs, but something that he can hold on to. So not a perfect answer. That's all he's doing now. He'll be fishing around in chat, and if Adam doesn't give it, he'll move on to somebody else desperately. Something that'll let him sleep tonight to reassure him that it's still a ball, because one guy didn't quite get the correct. They're a bit thick. That's all they've got, mate. Look at it. Poor lad.
You know what I think, or what I have to say about it is, their claim, ridiculous and all that it is, and the fact that it absolutely destroys them to claim that the horizon is refracted, which means it's not geometric. What they're forgetting about is that means the horizon, as they always claim, is always refracted. So their claimed observations to Polaris, right, where they move backwards away from Polaris and down along a curved out, which means down over a geometric horizon, all those claims are out the window, because you could never get those observations using that geometry without being able to use that geometry. If the horizon is refracted, then they'll never know how high above their geometric horizon the Polaris is. You know, they don't have any latitude lines, they have nothing. It kills them completely. Their ball doesn't match the sky at that stage.
Just someone just popped him out there, right? They're 7/6R. Just in terms of celestial navigation and stuff, they don't apply it to celestial navigation. I know this is completely off track, but it's just something that just dropped in my noggin. But when they do terrestrial navigation, we're looking at the heights of lighthouses and stuff, it's still the same refraction index that they apply to certain levels at the horizon, stellar or terrestrial objects. What they don't do to the terrestrial objects at all is apply a 7/6R. Yet we still calculate these things correctly on a right-angled square base. I know that's completely off topic, but
yeah, it is.
I know. I'm sorry. It just popped in my noggin, and sometimes it needs to come.
But you know what I keep thinking about? Oh, that is an open-ended question. I don't need anyone answering. I'll just tell you. You just don't rock with me. Hey, crappies. Yeah, I already gave that recipe last week. I've been thinking about, because I used to go when my kids were younger, and they all were at home. I used to take them to soccer games. And I'm just thinking back then, like what I could do now is go to a soccer game, and there'd be a whole bunch of people sitting around you, and just find the person beside you and say, you know that this field's moving, but down at the end, down there by the goalpost, that's moving faster. What I just like. They wouldn't have to resign. I just want to see the look on their face.
You can even make it even worse and say that the gravity is heavier on that side than on the other side.
Oh, you don't want to overcomplicate it.
Ah, come on, that's beautiful.
No, it's fine virgin like that.
I like overcomplicate.
Everyone wants to try to add on. Just leave it, stay where it lays. It's wonderful.
God is good.
True.
Doesn't need any more additions.
Well, you make the most additions that I can ever.
I'll tell you, here comes the backhanded slides.
Yeah.
Can I have another addition?
Rodents, taunts things. Well, all the while you just have to point out that the horizon lies even further than the supposed geometric line that you can supposedly could see on a ball with a radius of a certain size. That's it.
I wasn't following.
No. Yeah, because it's too simple for you.
There we go. There it is. Back in its light. Honey!
Yeah.
Betty's at it again. Oh, what else he said? This is another one. Sorry, I just remembered it. He said that with the black swan, that there was no measurement, and we claim that we can't measure to the horizon. The oil rigs, perhaps. The black swan is a measurement because the oil rigs are a certain distance away from you. Even though we don't know the exact distance to the horizon, we know it's further than 9 miles. It's a measurement. Good God. Sorry, I rumpus somebody. I know somebody wanted to talk.
No, there's no rush. It's Phil. Phil B again. Apparently, he is talking to me, not Adam Price.
I told you.
Oh, so open speech marks. I am not asking Adam Price. I am asking Adam on the panel. Why are the two photos different? Is it refraction or not? Why are you scared to say refraction? Now, sometimes I wonder why my mind wanders off in places.
We always wonder that and talk about it behind your back.
And there are other reasons, but in this case, the point I mentioned was the sight refraction and how we deal with it at sea and stuff. Yeah, and my point was that why not using a 7/6R there, Phil? So I've got no problem with refraction. Refraction will change things. I think that looks more like a swell, to be honest with you. But I don't need to give you an excuse, Phil, because as I said the first time, in your world, that is the leading edge of your ball. In your world, right? Picture B, we've got an Earth that's not 3959. It's probably the size of Jupiter. But in picture A, we're off to the moon, baby. We've got an R value equivalent from here to the moon in your world, mate. So I don't need to give you excuses. You just need to realize what your claim is, you balding, are you?
Refraction! Pagak! Refraction! He doesn't even know what it is.
I didn't even need to go there.
Yeah, you don't need to go there. All you have to do. Yeah, I don't want to put up with his numpty dipshittery anymore. Just see my numpty clips. Go to the playlist. Go to the signature ones and find Dr. Phil in there, and you won't pay any attention to him ever again.
The actual answer, Adam, to why are those two photos different is because the horizon is not geometric. That's it, isn't it?
Don't tell him, Brian.
Yes, very succinct, Brian. Yeah.
Oh boy, Betty.
Yes, sir.
I didn't have anything to ask you. I just wanted to know if you're still there.
Well, I think that we all explained it to Phil a couple of ways, I suppose.
Let's get you've been around.
And you see that the indoctrination is going quite deep.
So what you're saying, I was going to ask you. So you've been around Phil for a long time. You've been around many Baltard spinning space monkeys. What's your take on Professor Phil?
He might be a nice guy, right? And he might be very valuable to friends, family, and all, maybe in his community. But on this topic, yeah, I'm sorry. The indoctrination goes deep, right? And it's unfortunate because that might mean that he also might not grasp other topics that comes close to, well, knowledge and truth.
Okay, let me say this again. Professor Phil is allegedly, self-purportedly, a physicist. Let me couch it in that context. What do you think of Professor of Physics Phil? Not as a person. That's regardless of that, but him being a professor. Yeah, go ahead.
Is he a theoretical physicist?
I don't know.
See?
I don't think he got
Because-
into that detail. Go ahead and ask him.
Well, the thing is that we have a theoretical physicist now in our cabinet, in our government.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Robert Dijkgraaf. Robert Dijkgraaf.
Can you?
And
can
he
you?
has opened. What the?
I'm sorry. Can you? I didn't understand you. Could you spell that?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to spell that. Robert Dijkgraaf. That means that's his name, right?
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
And that means that he's sort of, he can only talk to a couple of people on his own subject where he's an expert at, you know. He says that he has few people that he can talk to on his own level of, and I would say, fantasy, right? Because it's all theoretical, right? No real experiments, no real science, just like equation after equation, what Tesla said, right? And then coming to some sort of a conclusion which is not the truth.
Paula called him a hypothetical physicist.
Yeah. Well, then you think, okay, if you can only talk to few people about your own matter subject, that means that maybe it's the king without clothes, right?
Oh,
it's something that is not real.
That's a revolting thought.
Yeah, it is. And many of people walking without clothing, and clothing being knowledge, right? They're kind of naked, but you can't point out that they're naked because that might embarrass them.
Why would you have to point out that somebody's naked when they're naked?
Have a kid do it.
I'm not even. No, I'm going to let that one go. Go ahead, Adam. Sorry, I rumpushed you.
Just a little comment from chat. I said earlier, Phil will go and try and find, if he can't find satisfaction here, what he'll do is he'll need something to leave with. But even though we responded to his point, he's not said anything since. What he's then come back with is, look, at Superflirt, notice how they don't answer the question as straightforward as you did. Look at what he's doing there. Phil, these tactics are so weak, mate. It's pathetic to watch, my friend, yeah? Stop grabbing. Well, grab a bit of reality, son, is what you need to do. You know, but this is weak. But was predicted, Phil. Go back, scroll back. I said you'd do that, and look at what you're doing now. We did address your point, Phil. Our value's not changing, mate. Brian, what's the line? I forgot it. Damn. It's gone.
Yeah, potato harvest is on.
Rising's not geometric. But yeah, just noticeable that that's where Phil's at. But he's the one that's, again, he's a theorist. He reckons he sticks satellites into orbit, low Earth orbit. Sounds very theoretical to me, that, Betty.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah, and if your whole paycheck depends on it, I mean, yeah, there are many people that want to keep a line going to just get a paycheck.
Okay, looks like we ran out of numpties. I don't want to go on Professor Phil anymore. It's starting to bore me. What else we got? So this weekend, it's gonna be steaming all week. No shooting of the bow, just in case you wanted to know. Also, I got to recover from the chigger attack.
So what are you gonna do next? Take some repellent?
Yeah, I'm gonna soak. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I'm gonna have to do it.
Even like in a swamp.
See,
Shooting in a swamp.
Even though I'm not, usually don't get it. Where I'm shooting in a backyard. Chiggers aren't usually that bad, but in my particular case, it's right next to a wood line. That means some serious woods. So I'm right in the buffer zone. There's like a war going on. And I put myself right in the buffer zone and just getting decimated.
This is a practical suggestion.
Go ahead.
Couldn't you wear a heavy denier tight?
I could wear some heavy clothing, but it's so darn hot here, Adam. It's almost unbearable.
Tights.
Tights.
You know, like ladies wear. What do you Americans call them?
Tights.
Lederhosen. Are they called tights? Yeah.
Lederhosen. Yeah, that's what I call it.
That's what you want. Something as thick as some lederhosen. And they're never getting. I'm not getting through that bad boy.
I already showed. Yeah, that is pretty funny. I already showed some of the. Now, wait a second. I already showed back in the day, a couple weeks ago. I already showed what they called. What is it? Rhino wear, where there were socks and lederhosen that they had that I was going to get, but it's just too darn hot.
Yeah, well, but still, people wear those sort of things because you get bit.
Oh, so you're saying why can't I just wear that down on my? Because there's not too many people out there watching me. The neighbor lady comes out every once in a while. So you're saying
So
I
it's
could?
not a pride thing, huh?
So say what?
It's not a pride thing then.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I could probably get away with it. Somebody
start a bit of thigh slapping.
I'm sort of thinking about quantum eraser going to that backyard of the neighbors and then in a sort of astronaut suit. And then people saying, who is that astronaut? Did Martians land?
Did you see me carrying a bow down there in tights?
Yeah. That's even...
It would be, I could probably get away with it, but I think my son would catch wind of it and he would sneak over there and take a picture and post it everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well,
the more I think about it, John, these lederhosen seem to be standard equipment for archers, don't they?
Say again.
Errol Flynn back in the day, what's he wearing?
Yeah.
Lederhosen, mate.
Yeah, you're right.
I think your lederhosen is more like a Swiss thing. It's like the same as knickerbockers, like these short shorts, like the what is it? 2/3 of a pants. So I don't think that you guys need lederhosen because that leaves your ankles free, right? And I think they will bite through any stockings that you might have underneath.
Yeah, it has to be some material that stops that. Yeah, you're exactly
well, you
right.
have some natural repellents, I think, like tea tree oil and some stuff like that.
Something that I think it's called. Now we have DEET. I don't like to use all those chemicals though. I'll do it, but I don't like it. There's another one that's quite strong. Is it Prometheus?
Oil.
You like a whole slew of things you don't like, but there's.
I got you. Listen, I'll evaluate it and make the appropriate changes because I'm not going through this again.
I don't use DEET. When I go to Italy, there's tons of mozzies and stuff out there. But I don't like chemicals like that. So I always use citronella oil.
Yeah.
So you just put a few drops into a bit of water and then just spray it all over the bottom of your legs.
Yeah, but these chiggers out here, they eat that shit and laugh at you.
They must be sent by the elite.
Yeah. And I told you I spotted a couple Lone Star ticks out here. Had one on my shirt. Took a couple pictures of them. I showed it to you. I had one on my shirt the other day. But yeah, it's a real minefield down there. Surprisingly.
Well, you've been in the closet.
No, I haven't been in a closet.
Yeah, so I understand that nature gets you with a vengeance.
Oh, that funny stuff. I forgot to tell a funny story. So I went down to shoot. It was Saturday, one of the brief respites of the heat wave. Went down there Saturday morning. Kitty, you okay? Hold on a second, guys.
Oh, his cat, of course. The only one that he can tolerate in the house.
Those are about 10 sneezes. That's the first time I've heard him do that. So let's get back to it's a real short story. So I'm down there. I warm up. It takes me about 25 arrows to warm up. But anyway, I'm on the third arrow, and I pull back, and I'm just getting ready to trigger it, and a friggin' bumblebee blasts me right in the ear. It sends the shot over the target. All I hear is the arrow hitting the leaves in the woods. And I said, oh my God, I'm getting flybys down here. For a second, I said, I should go get that. And then I said, it's lost forever. I'm not going back there. Betty said, wait till the wintertime, but it'll be the steel parts of the arrow. I have metal components in there also. They'll be toast. But I wanted to share that with everyone. Right over the target. It's a good thing. Like I said, I got woods behind the target, so there's no danger of anyone getting hit. So
you should be practicing like shooting under fire.
Betty rumpushed you, Adam.
I don't know. It was pretty close. Ladies first.
No, you go on, Adam.
I was only being flippant. I was just saying, you've got to keep practicing, John. This is the next level, isn't it? Shooting under fire now. With
That's exactly what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Shooting under flybys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be able to stand during distractions and stuff.
I don't know. That was a big one. I really screwed that up. It's still bothering me losing that arrow.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. Okay, listen, Nathan's show's getting ready to start, so there's not that many people in here. I think we completed our mission here today. Yeah.
Brian dropped.
Yeah.
There's only one person left with a great name. I loved it. It made me giggle. Snesley Wipes. I love it.
Yep. So any final thoughts real quick, Adam?
No, that was it. I thought Snesley Wipes was funny. But yeah, cheers for good chat.
Wipes.
Leslie Wipes.
Soccer player.
Actor.
I think he's Dutch.
Okay, so no ball busters. We're going to wrap it up. No ball busters this week. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to be in a serious heat wave. But I'll leave you with some funny stuff. What I started with, starring Gem Panda and his mute button. Because
again?
Yeah, I'm going to play it again because not everyone heard it.
Once is enough. Come on.
Nah, I want to irritate everyone again.
Oh my goodness! Well, that will work.
Yeah, that will work. It has a point to it because everyone everyone always parrots. We don't go Nathan because you mute button. Yeah, you stepped in it, son. Numpty dipshit. I'll leave you guys with that, and then we'll catch you on.
Finish.
and then we'll catch you on. You got something to add just before I take off, Betty?
Yeah, let me finish.
Oh no, that's right. I've seen it in the chat earlier. That's too funny. You freaking knuckle dragging, window licking crayon muncher. Not you, Betty.
And his panda rats.
Yeah, it's coming. All right, guys, thanks for coming. I hope you got a lot out of Coriolis effect. Like I said, it's a lot of fun these days. But you got to master the arguments. And remember, there's only 4 characteristics you have to master. Number 1, for the Coriolis effect to exist, the antecedents have to exist. Here's 4 of them. You have to have a non-inertial rotating reference frame. Number 1. Well, we're going to keep that with number 2, too. We'll just take them together. You have to have a single rotating non-inertial reference frame. You have to have an inertial reference frame. You have to have an object flying straight through that inertial reference frame, and you need an observer looking at that object on the rotating reference frame, looking at the object fly through the inertial reference frame. That's the 4 things that you need for Coriolis to exist. Once you know that, then it's batter up. Take it easy, guys. Catch you on the flip side.
two questions. Given that you admit and accept that you were muting Jin for being rude,
Right.
isn't that the very same criticism that you criticise Nathan for why you guys don't go in there because of Nathan's mute button? Wouldn't that therefore be hypocritical, Jeremy?
I do criticize Nathan for that, but I mean, you could look at it like that. Yes, you could just say I'm a hypocrite.
No, what he'll do is he'll do what he always does, which is he'll get mad, he'll mute us.
That's two of you gone. I'm just muting people.
Mute.
Until I get this finished. So you are gonna let me finish it if I have to mute the fucking lot of you. What I do is I facilitate a conversation.
Okay, dude. So please stop muting me.
Mute.
Dude, it's getting really old. Listen, dude. I was going to thoroughly explain my position, and then what you did was you muted and strawmanned it.
Mute.
For a fucking full minute, dude. It's ridiculous.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. You're going to sit in a room. Are you really seriously going to sit in a room of other adults when you've been in this conversation?
Some emotional arguments.
All right, we'll do it the hard. We'll do it the hard way. You are muted.
Mute.
Typical Gem with a mute and monologue method. Fantastic.
He deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
Mute.
I actually only realized I was muted.
Mute.
10 seconds ago when I looked at my screen. Before that, I was letting you talk. I was letting you spiel for 2 minutes.
He deploys his mute button just so he can preach. I announced the mute.
Mute.
I told you I was.
No, you haven't been announcing it. Don't lie.
I absolutely did announce the mute.
Mute.
Talking over me.
How many times did you mute?
Mute.
Twice.
Mute.
And how many times did you announce it?
What?
And that's a lie, actually. That's a fucking lie. Because you at least 3 times I saw.
Mute.
After you muted me to monologue about remedial babbling nonsense.
But yes, he deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
Wow, you just always got to mute me so you can just like.
So when I find you in the list, I'm going to mute you.
Mute.
You fucking idiot! Shut the fuck up. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Oh, sorry, I left SE muted.
Mute.
Go ahead, SE. Sorry.
You're a coward, Jem. You're a coward, bro.
That's why I'm
mute.
No, I wasn't kicked. So I left because I tried to explain the same point about 4 times, and I couldn't even get in past like the first 5 words of the point because moderators and non-moderators were muting me and talking over me. And Kosho, for you to pretend that it was the other way around to show us how dishonest you are, hopefully if we meet in person, you won't be this dishonest.
Do you want to be that strict? We can do that, Witsit. You'll be muted.
Mute.
Look crazy, though.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Right, I'm going to ask you a question. I've muted you again.
Mute.
You can just stay muted.
Mute.
If that's what we're doing.
It's just stupid. It's just not.
You've got to fix this guy's face.
You can't engage with me, so you stay muted.
Mute.
Okay, so you're just going to keep muting me.
Mute.
Because you're scared to get exposed.
You could just say I'm a hypocrite. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. And then so he got muted.
Mute.
All right, I will mute you.
Mute.
You could just say I'm a hypocrite. The last log is I muted him.
Mute.
At 23:53. That's why I keep asking.
You had to mute him, of course.
Mute.
Yes, because he keeps interrupting.
He just makes up some reason that sounds kind of vaguely like it'd be a decent reason, except for it isn't, because he's just asserting it. There's no reason for it. And literally will just mute people and then starts going on, then starts making up things that you were going to say or making up things that you did say.
Listen, dude. I was going to thoroughly explain my position, and then what you did was you muted and strawmanned it.
Mute.
For a fucking full minute, dude. It's ridiculous.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. That's 2 of you gone. I'm just muting people.
Mute.
Until I get this finished. He deploys his mute button just so he can preach. So you are going to let me finish it if I have to mute the fucking lot of you. He deploys his mute button just so he can preach.
I respect you a lot now. I respect you more for this. So
you're muted.
Mute.
Dude, you muted me, Jim.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation.
Mute.
And then you don't even let me respond.
I'm going to have to mute you.
Mute.
So you mute me and then interrupt me, and then you're going to mute me again.
Mute.
I'm responding to what you've just said.
I'm still responding to when you muted me.
Mute.
Monologue, though.
Right. You could just say I'm a hypocrite. I've muted you so that I can speak.
Mute.
Your problem is that you are ignorant, that you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't bothered to learn it. You picked up a few memes and now you're just blabbing.
Mute.
What I do is I facilitate a conversation. Now, if anybody else speaks, they're getting muted too, okay?
Mute.
No, I'll mute you.
Mute.
Response is to mute you while I give the response.
Mute.
I'm just going to mute you.
Mute.
I don't want to mute you. I'm just going to mute you.
Mute.
Dude, I'm just going to mute you.
Mute.
The only thing that he does is get mad, escalate the fight, start screaming, and mute.
So you are going to let me finish it if I have to mute
the
fucking lot of you. What I do is I facilitate a conversation. You are muted.